What's going down, D-Gens? I am back. Finally. Oh my god, this summer just started and it's already so damn long. So, I am happy to announce I'm going to be doing more stuff this year. So, we're going to not just have gambling, which obviously I'm still going to do, but going to include fantasy, going to include other picks, fantasy, like daily fantasy picks, all sorts of stuff, news, notes, all that other, all the stuff that comes with football, which is awesome. So I'll be able to do that. I'm going to have more of a set schedule this year. That should be just completely amazing. Hopefully, I will find the same support to do this other stuff as I am now. So I appreciate you guys for that. Also, though, I am going to be hosting or releasing a website. It's like a digital newspaper, basically. I'm going to be doing a newspaper locally in my hometown. So I'll be releasing the website to go along with that. That'll have even more information and stuff that you don't have to listen to my voice for. So all that kind of great stuff coming up this year, and all of that should be coming out relatively soon. Plan is for kind of a build up between now through July, and then by early August we're up and running. The first Hall of Fame game is July 31st, and today to kick off my comeback to YouTube, we are going to be talking about preseason, guys. I would love to get into week one, and I can go over it if you really absolutely want to. But first things first, we got to go through preseason and the Hall of Fame game. Because honestly, in my opinion, that's when football starts, right? It's the first game, the first stuff we can bet on. And if I can bet on it, if it moves, I'm going to do it. So this in front of you is the list of the current active coaches as well as their preseason win records. Just a couple quick notes. Raheem Morris has never won a preseason game, so he's 0-3. The Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Taylor's 3-12. Really, if you look at the last, I'd say 5 or 6 guys here, you're going to see some people that really stand out about just absolutely not giving two shits about preseason. So Raheem Morris, Zach Taylor, Nick Sirianni from the Eagles, and I expect that to be even more so now that he's won a Super Bowl. Dan Quinn, Kevin Stefanski, Kevin O'Connell, those guys really just absolutely do not care about preseason. They all have a win rate lower than 34% as far as preseason is concerned, which obviously if you know now, preseason is only 3 games long, which means that they're probably only winning 1 game a year. So let's use that to our advantage. Also, as far as good records and guys who stand out for positive reasons, Ryan Callahan from the Titans. Now he's only been there 1 year, but he was a perfect 3-0 in preseason. I'm going to monitor that while I expect him to probably still come out and have a good preseason, especially because they need something positive, right? Like the Titans don't have a whole lot of really positive things happening, so I expect him to try to come out, at least make a good impression with the preseason, probably get some of the buy-in from the team before they get to the regular season. I don't expect him to come here and tank, knowing that he's not going to go, like 12-4 or anything. He's got to put his good foot forward when he can. So I'm expecting that they're going to do good, but let's watch it. I'm going to kind of be a little tentative on the first week or so, and then after that we can hit it kind of hard with the Titans if he's going all out like we're expecting to. John Harbaugh is another one who's got a good record. He's a 73% winner for the preseason. The last 2 seasons, guys, if you paid attention, he just has completely flipped the script, though. He used to really care about preseason. He was the guy who was like undefeated for God knows how many games in preseason. After he lost a game, and it wasn't just that he lost a game, it was 1 year the Ravens just got everybody hurt in preseason. That was when J.K. Dobbins, I want to say he tore his Achilles, and then Gus Edwards got hurt, and then Rashad Bateman got hurt. I mean, it was just like big-name guys kept going down in the preseason. It was just bad luck, but it really changed his tune as far as preseason goes. And so ever since then, he just has not been the same. So even though he's a high win record, I really wouldn't put a whole lot of clout behind his name right now for preseason. Guys like DeMeco Ryan, he has done great. He's only been a coach for 2 years, or 2 preseasons, I should say. But at 5-2, he's got a 71% win record. He really cares. If you look to the far right-hand lane there, it's going to give you a 1-0, 0-2, 2-0, that kind of thing. That is the final preseason game. So how have they done in the absolute last game of the season? So somebody like John Harbaugh over the last 2 years has gone 0-2. DeMeco Ryans has gone 2-0. If you look at the other Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh from the Chargers. I'm going to scroll down to kind of highlight it a little bit. He's 1-0 with the Chargers as far as his last game of the preseason because he's only been there for a year. But in his entire career, he is undefeated in the last week of preseason. Now, he's been a coach long enough so that there was 4 games when he initially started coaching in the NFL, but it was always the last week of the season he would make sure to win that game. So, again, something we want to keep an eye on. So, that is some of the stats we have working for our advantage here. But let's see what we got with our tracker here. So, first things first, like I said, Hall of Fame game. We have the Chargers at the Lions. Right now we are taking, or I am taking, I should say, the Chargers plus the 1 at -115. That may be a little different depending on where you're at. But right now we have them at +1. You can take the money line. In the preseason is really the only time that I would take the 1 point, only because there are ties in preseason, and a lot of times people try to absolutely not tie, and so what will happen is the last play of the game there, they score, and instead of going for 1 to tie it like they would in a regular season game, they go for 2. So that's one of those things where that 1 point actually is more valuable in the preseason than it is in the regular season, which is why I'm taking the 1 and laying the -115. Totally up to you, but I will say that 1 point is at least marginally more valuable than it would be in the regular season. Now, as far as why are we taking the Chargers, well, it's pretty easy, guys. We have Campbell, who is like a 40-something% winner as far as preseason goes. So he's not terrible, but we do have Jim Harbaugh, like I was just saying, who's really, really good at what he does. He actually, again, cares about preseason. And more importantly than that, we actually can take a look at their team, right? So we can take a look at who is going to be playing in these games. So as far as quarterbacks go, it's probably not going to be the starters. Let's just scroll on past that. And if you're looking at the screen right now, look at your quarterbacks specifically. So with the Chargers, we have Taylor Heineke, who's been great. I don't say great, but he's been a very serviceable player in the NFL. He obviously makes some mistakes. He's a backup talent, but he's been an NFL talent. We have Trey Lance, same thing. Again, not great, kind of a journeyman at this point. Was a first-round pick for a reason, though. Done decent enough that he's still hanging around in the league. These are the guys that are probably going to be playing for you for the Chargers in that Hall of Fame game, as well as DJ Blah. And so I don't know a whole lot about DJ. I've never seen the kid play, but I got to think he's going to get maybe a quarter of actual game time because probably going to be Trey Lance and Taylor Heineke taking at least the first half of these reps. So if you wanted to take just like the first half Chargers, that also wouldn't be a bad look. But you have those guys playing, and that's going to really be at least some serviceable NFL talent that you're going to have in this game. Whereas when you look at the Lions, obviously they're not going to be playing Jared Goff. They're not going to be playing any of their starters. You're talking about a team who's got real playoff aspirations here. So they're probably going to come out with Hendon Hooker, who's not terrible. And then you're going to have Kyle Allen, who, again, not terrible, but not to the level of what the Chargers are going to put out there. As far as coaching goes, like I said, you have a different win record as far as just preseason is concerned. Let me get back to it for just a second. So we have Jim Harbaugh, who's a almost 58% win record there as far as preseason goes, compared to Dan Campbell, who's at about a 42% win record. So not to say that Dan Campbell doesn't care, because obviously he does, but Dan Campbell is 2-0 in the final game of preseason. He tends to really come out and show strong in that last game of the preseason, kind of using it as like a dress rehearsal, more so than like the early portions of the season as far as preseason goes. So that's the work on that one as far as why we are going to be looking at Chargers plus the 1 point for that one particular game. Now, like I said earlier, we also have another play here, and we're going to go into week 1 of the preseason. So aside from just the Chargers plus the 1 in that Hall of Fame game, we're also going to take the under 32.5 points. Again, this is a game where we don't expect to see a lot of starters. Offenses start pretty slow. The last 2 years have been kind of anomalies because they have gone over. Now, last year, if you remember, it was the Browns in the preseason game, and they were just playing absolutely lights out. These guys were throwing it all over the damn field, and it soared over the game, and they didn't even play the last quarter because it was a rain issue But that was like a real one-off weird scenario where you just saw like DTR and other guys, other backup quarterbacks coming out of nowhere and just playing absolutely lights out. Then you also had the year before that, where, and I apologize, I'm blanking on the guy's name. Oh, I can't remember now. Anyways, you had a coach that was involved in that game, and I apologize. I could probably go back and find it, but not going to right now because I don't want to make this any longer than it already is. So you had a coach at that time who really wanted to go out and show out for like his home crowd, and he wouldn't put this game on that was like, I have no idea why you're doing that, dude. But he put up a whole bunch of points in this Hall of Fame game because his family was there. Usually we don't see that. So we have two pretty veteran coaches here, two teams that have real playoff aspirations, and we don't expect to see any starters in this game whatsoever. So for those reasons, I'm going to be taking the under. If you wanted to do just the first half, that'd be fine as well. But being that second half is really where you're going to see like the kind of unknown guys come in, and that usually where they start to kind of shit the bed a little bit. Taking the full game under the 32.5 is where I'm going to look. As far as week 1 of the preseason, so I actually have 3 plays that are lined up already. Cowboys at the Rams, the Cowboys money line. Is one of the most notorious thing about Sean McVay is that he does not give a damn about the preseason. He does not care at all. It's a very veteran team with veteran players and have no need to be out there during the preseason, and they're an aging team. So they definitely are not going to put their starters out there in the preseason, whereas the Cowboys have a brand-new coach who's going to try to put, again, his best foot forward to try to get some buy-in from the team, the management, all that kind of stuff. That probably isn't going to play too much in this game, but you do have new pieces like a George Pickens, like a Jaden Blue, who are going to probably play in this game, and they are going to try to win it, and I would assume especially for this first game, that coach Schottenheimer goes out there, and he's going to really try his all to get that win, and I think Sean McVay is going to just be too happy to give it to him. So give me the Cowboys money line for that preseason week 1. Texans, Vikings. Again, Texans, we have a D'Amico Ryans who's done an amazing job in the preseason playing against the Vikings, where Kevin O'Connell, again, one of the coaches who just absolutely does not care. Probably not going to see either of the starters here. But I would assume even more so with a J.J. McCarthy after he got injured in the year last year and completely just missed the season. I would assume they're really going to be pretty slow to put him in there with preseason, and if he plays at all, it's going to be pretty limited. So give me the Texans money line on that one. And then lastly here, the Bengals at Eagles under 37 points. So if you take a look at these teams, both of these coaches, like we were just saying, are in the bottom 5 of win percentages for preseason games. Again, 2 more teams that just absolutely could not be bothered to care about preseason. But more importantly, neither one of these teams scored more than 17 points in any one individual preseason game at any point last year. And I believe it even goes back to 2 years. Like, neither of these guys have scored more, and I want to even say it's 16 points. Either way, yes, it is 16 points. I don't remember it. So neither of these teams have scored more than 16 points in the preseason game. I don't expect that to change now, especially, again, we have 2 teams that are very, very real chances of making it a deep playoff run for both of them. One of them coming off a Super Bowl win. I would not expect these guys to go all out. I do not expect to see many, if any, starters in this game. And if they are in there, it's not going to be very long. I just don't think either of these teams are going to show up week 1 in the preseason to really go out and ball out. Give me the under 37 in that Bengals-Eagles game. And that's it. That's it for right now, guys. I am going to come back with the week 1 plays and picks and more preseason picks. And then I'm also going to go over how to create a chart if you're trying to monitor your picks this year, as well as what books you should be looking at taking and picking to get the most out of your bonuses and all that kind of stuff. So thank you again, guys. I appreciate you watching this. I hope that we all win some money this year, and I was speaking with y'all a lot more often this summer. Y'all have a great day, man.